FA Cup final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue Transfer Talk, and this is where we're talking about the strikers. Some people's favourite to talk about, some not. I do like talking about the strikers. I do like midfielders. To be fair, I like the whole of the side. So before I bring my guests in, same as normal, it is scrolling down the bottom as well, but you just remember where you can find us. We are available on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, X or Twitter. We are available on YouTube, so please go and like and subscribe if you watch us on there. If you listen to us on a podcast, whether it be Spotify, Amazon, please go and rate us 5 stars. There are podcasts available, or other platforms available, I should say. We are sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country. We're partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar, the Sky Blue Tavern and the Brewery. And we're also in association with Coventry Ladies and the Sports Social Network. So without further ado, let me bring my guests in. First of all, we'll bring in Glenn to stop him yawning. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening, Stu.
I weren't going to mention it, but I thought it would be funny, mate. And also,
it's been a long day. Been a long week.
Cam.
Good evening. How is everybody?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Thank you again for joining me. Much appreciated. So we've just done the midfielders transfer talk, which was very good. So thank you for that. Now we're going to talk about the strikers. So we'll talk, as always, we'll talk about the current crop of strikers that we've got at the moment, and then we'll go on to our transfers and who we want to bring in. I have asked Cameron and Glenn to give me 3 transfers if they can. I must admit, I have cheated a little bit, and you'll find out why I've cheated a little bit later on. So, first of all, we'll talk about the strikers. We'll start off with our number 9, which is Ellis Simms. 2 years ago, we signed him and he had a really good season. He ended up being level on goals with Haji Wright, who had another good season, who we'll talk about in a minute. He, from I think January or December to something like February, he was score ratio was better than Haaland, and he had a brilliant season in the Premier League. He just is just hot and cold, and I think towards the end of last season, whether you look at the conspiracy theories of not bringing him on against Sunderland or not, either way really, but for me, he just hasn't cut it this year. I expect more from him, from a big 6'3" striker. He's got pace. He's not thin. You know, he is quite bulky. When you see him away on holiday with his top off and everything, he's got a good physique on him, so he shouldn't be bullied as much as he is. He should be better in the air than he is as well. I just feel with Ellis, maybe we're not playing to his strengths, but I think when we're not playing to his strengths and we need more from a striker, he doesn't offer it. Glenn, how do you feel about Ellis Simms?
It's a very hard one because he's following on from probably one of the best strikers that will ever play for Cov in Victor Gyökeres, and unfortunately that is the measuring stick that we judge him against. But put reasons in why he wasn't.
Sorry, mate, you've been cutting out on me. Okay, we'll get Cam in until we can get Glenn back. Cam, what do you think about Ellis Simms?
He's a strange one, isn't he? On his day, very effective, can score very important goals. he really struggled in home games last season. And I mean, really struggled. I think he only scored once at home all season. Whereas away from home, I thought he was generally quite solid. But you need strikers to be on it, especially in the home games where that odd goal could be the deciding factor. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's a case where we sell him just because it's not working here. Maybe he goes and scores 15 goals at another championship club, because I think Sunderland under Tony Mowbray found a way to extract like his best. We've done it in patches, but not consistently. Maybe it's just a case where the two clubs just don't fit, and sometimes that's football.
Yeah, I agree. Glenn, you're back. No, not quite. Do you want to come off?
Do you hear me now? Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, go on, mate.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the problem with Sims is we all judge him against Vic. And I think last season he had a bit of an injury hit pre-season. And you just never got a run of games, and we never saw the best of him. And I do think he probably struggles at home because a lot of teams we come up against at home sit very deep. And yeah, you can't. There's no space for him to run him.
Come off picture, Glenn, and just go on to sound, mate, because we're getting a bit too much interference with the picture and that now, mate. Just to see if that's better. You there, Glenn? Oh, he's gone. Okay, I'm sure he'll be back in a minute once he's sorted out his internet. I think what Glenn's alluding to is that we do sort of look at Sims in a way, don't we? That we just expect him to be a little bit like Vic, and we know he's not. But it doesn't help his cause, does it? When you know how much effort that Vic did, really.
To be fair, I didn't really expect him, personally myself, to be like. I didn't really expect any of our strikers to be like Gyökeres, because I kind of accepted. Hang on, Gyökeres is kind of a 1 in a million striker. We will probably never see a striker that good again. However, I still think even if you take the Vic expectations out of the picture, I think there's just not been enough consistency. I really want him to do well. For me, he's a really, really likable player, and if you get consistency out of him, he can be an asset. But unfortunately, like I referred to earlier, I'm just not sure Ellis Sims and Coventry are the right fit. Maybe another championship team is the place for Ellis Sims to get the absolute best out of himself.
Okay, let's see if Glenn's back, see if he can talk again. Hello, mate, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. You're right. You can hear me now.
That's better. I can hear you now. Go on, Glenn, say what you were going to say, mate.
I was just going to say with Sims, I think he has a bit of a rough ride because we judge him based on Vic. And you can't compare the two players because it's chalk and cheese. And I do think he had an injury hit pre-season last season, and that probably didn't help him. And he just didn't string a run of games together. And I think he's very much a momentum player where he needs a run of games, and that you see the best out of him. I think it wouldn't surprise me if we saw him back on form this season. But yeah, it is a bit of a problem when you've got him and Haji Wright not on the level they were the season before last.
Yeah, totally. Let's move on to Haji Wright then. Anybody that listens to me on any platform, whether it's on BBC CWR, RX Space, or just talking about Haji Wright in general, will know how I feel about him. I think he's lazy. On his day, don't get me wrong, I think he's one of the best strikers in the league. He does play predominantly on that left-hand side, or he did on his first season anyway, until we got Mason Clark. But I think the Sunderland game, he shows games where he is absolutely untouchable. You know, Sunderland, where he scored the hat-trick. I think Oxford as well, one game, and there's another couple of games as well. But I could probably give the names on one hand how many times he's been absolutely superb. Other games, he's nowhere. He doesn't track back. He doesn't help the fullback for me. People will argue that he does. I don't think he does. Again, it's my opinion. I think now he should be playing through the middle. Granted, last season he did have, the knee injury that hindered him towards the end of the season. But again, a little bit like Sims, when things aren't going your way, when our back is against the wall and you just need your striker to work, Haji Wright and Ellis Sims do not offer it. And I think that hinders us because you may as well play with 10 men. You may as well take him off because they absolutely do nothing. They walk. They don't chase that player down. When we went against 10 men, the striker did absolutely nothing. I think he sacrificed Sakamoto, maybe. I think, or somebody anyway. And the striker did absolutely nothing, right? Now, when you watch Crystal Palace, they went down to 10 men and their striker chased everything down. He knew we weren't going to win it, but he chased and he put them under pressure. And that's what our strikers do not do when we need them to be that first line of defence. Right, that's my rant out the way. Glenn, do you agree?
He is very much like Victor Torp. You have the good, the bad, and the ugly. If it was me and I was Haji Wright, I would be busting my balls to get myself fit, on form, because I've got the chance to go to the World Cup with my country and fire the goals that could get the USA to the furthest World Cup finish they've had or whatever. I just don't see that hunger and desire in him. And maybe it's hard because I'm judging him against the likes of Vic and Hamer and stuff who, like Vic had that hunger and desire and Ronaldo, Messi mentality that I want to be the best I can best. I just don't see that potentially with Wright at the moment. And yeah, it's worrying that maybe we should have cashed in on him and Sims that last summer when their value was quite high and they were in the headlines for the Man United game and the Wolves game and whatever. Because now it looks like they're two different players. And that miss against Sunderland in the second leg was Sunday League fare, unfortunately. For an international quality striker, that was poor to not even hit the target.
Totally agree. Cam?
Yeah. You don't know what you're going to get. You're going to get a player who is completely non-existent, or you're going to get a player that will single-handedly change your game in your favour. I think in 23-24, for example, there were a lot of close games where it was decided by a Haji Wright winner or a Haji Wright assist. And he was like, he did have games where he was missing. He was still like, he could go missing, but he'd still win you a game or be involved in a winning moment. But he didn't really do that much either last season. So I don't really know. And I think I think it was an Achilles injury he had. I think he's had reoccurring ankle issues. That does have me concerned, like for the season, just because, okay, when he's available, he might get us the necessary goals, but is he now at a stage of his career because of that ankle injury? Is he going to be like injured but not injured, then injured? Because Achilles injuries, they are pretty serious.
Yeah, good point. It's another difficult one with Haji. Like I said, it is predominantly on the on the left wing, but with Mason Clark, should he be through the middle? And then you've got competition, and I think it's just who wants it more really between Sims and Wright. So the next one that we're going to talk about is Thomas Asante. Scored a brilliant goal against Swansea and set up Radoni when we broke away against, remind me guys.
Borough.
Barat, thank you. Last game of the season. I don't know why I didn't remember that, to be fair. But yeah, look, Asante for me is probably a squad player. I'm not actually sure where to play him. I don't know his best position. You can play him on the right, you can play him on the left, and you can play him up front. He's a little bit like Latti at the back is, really. You're not sure where his best position is. Is it hindering him because there are better players in his position? Probably yes. But I like him as a squad player. But if we got a decent fee for him, would it be the worst thing to get rid? Probably not. But like I said, I do like him as a squad player. Cam, how do you feel about Thomas Asante?
He's an interesting one for me because I think I've been looking at his career today. I think as he's progressed at clubs, I've always kind of found him as a better Season 2 player than a Season 1. I think it was the same at West Brom. I think he got a fairly modest 7 goals in his first season. Then he went on to get 11 goals, but with performances he was putting in, he could have had 20. He's not a quality scorer of goals. He's a scorer of quality goals. He's more likely to score a bang. He'll score a banger from 30 yards out, but then miss a sitter. But I think what you get with him is hard work, constant running, chasing defenders. So as much as we criticise Ellis and Hadji for maybe not doing that, that Brandon's going to do that all the time. I think as an impact player, he's an absolute nuisance for tired legs. I think he's worth giving a chance this year, just to see if we see that improvement in Season 2, like West Brom had seen and what Salford had seen at the longer he'd been playing for them. So maybe we'll get that with Thomas Asante too, and I really hope we do because he's a very likeable chap.
Yeah, he is a likeable chap, definitely. Glenn, how do you feel about Brandon?
I'm yet to see the player that I saw at times for West Brom who really scored some really good finishes and was a constant threat and led the line in a team that was quite defensive at times. But yeah, I do think there's a player there and he's got a chance of starting number 9 against Hull City. There's a place up for grabs. It's down. There's 4 people who are currently fit. One of them's got to put the name in the hat and nail the place down. Yeah,
definitely. Totally agree. We'll quickly talk about Tavares. He has been released and we know that he's signed with Burton Albion. He's one that showed glimpses, but we really knew that he weren't going to be staying on because of his consistency, his game time, other players, again, playing in his positions that were just slightly better than him. I think it was the right thing to do, and I'm glad, and I hope he does well at Burton. So all the best for Tavares. How do you feel about Tavares, Cam?
Yeah, I think it's the best. I remember he went on loan towards the back end last season at Burton. He didn't start very often. However, I personally reckon that was clearly a tactic from Burton Albion because they know he's a good finisher. If he started every game, stayed fit, scored a load of goals, they wouldn't have got him. Probably a League One side with more money would have got him. I think now that he's in there, he's going to be one of the main players in that team. And I think if he can keep himself fit and keep that injury bug away, because that's what hurt his career at Coventry, in my opinion. If he stays fit, he can definitely score a good load of goals for Burton because despite his sometimes limitations, his finishing is definitely one of his biggest strengths.
Yeah, totally agree. Glenn?
I agree with what Cam said. Moments of magic, some good memories for us. That goal against Preston I'll never forget. I thought his performance when he came on a sub against Man United was really, really good. And then there was a couple of the other FA Cup games where he chipped in with some good goals, but he never got a run of games and had a bit of bad luck with injury. Would not surprise me if he probably finishes top scorer for Burton and you see him at maybe a bigger League One side next summer comes in for him. So yeah, for Burton, they'll get some money. They'll make a profit on him, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Lovely. And then the final one. Again, I'm not really sure on what to make, and that's Norman Bissett. Again, people that listen to me, I like him a lot. I think he shows qualities of Vic. just a lot rawer. He is young, I think he's just turned 21, 22, maybe a little bit younger than that. I like Norman Bissett, and I wish and I hope that he gets a chance. He hasn't so far, I don't think, in pre-season yet, but I'm not sure whether he's carrying a little bit of an injury, so I've heard. Not sure. But yeah, I want to see more of Norman. I want to see him have a run of games because I think he's a menace. We've seen what he can. We saw what a wind-up merchant he was, and I like that sort of player. I like somebody that can wind a defence up, really get them and cause them trouble. And yeah, like I said, I like Norman, and I just want to see the best of him because I think there is a quality striker in there. Glenn?
Yeah, I agree. I think the problem is we've got 4 strikers. You've got 2 in Sims and Wright that probably don't work as hard as Thomas Asante and Bissett. But then you've probably Thomas Asante and Bissett probably aren't as good finishers as Sims and Wright are. And if you kind of could amalgamate them together, you'd have 2 very, very good championship strikers who probably could do it in the Premier League. But yeah, I think Norman, I keep seeing this thing about loaning him out. If you're going to loan him out, we've got to loan him out to someone at a decent standard because I don't think a League One or League Two move is going to teach him anything or improve him. And especially with Hadji as it is, I think he's got a chance of getting in the team, and I would like to see him play in a 2. We've never really seen him play in the front 2.
No, we haven't. No.
And yeah, but
to be fair, I think Sims is better in a 2 as well. By the way.
Yeah, I think maybe that's something we've got to look at and consider as an option as a plan B on it. But yeah, I would keep him. I wouldn't be loaning him out with a question mark over Hadji Wright. And yeah, I think he's got a knock, and hopefully he'll get a chance to put in a performance against Betis or St. Pauli, and we'll have Naughty Norman back in the winking and everything.
Hopefully. Cam, how do you feel about Norman?
He's got all the attributes to be a top player, and I'm not just saying that to exaggerate. I think he really does. I don't think you get selected by Belgium at the age of 20 if you're a bad player. Granted, it was due to circumstances of Romelu Lukaku being injured, but they still chose him to play, and he even got minutes. There are times where he's a headless chicken. Name me a 20-year-old striker who's not a headless chicken at times. But there are moments of real quality, and it's just about refining that rawness and making him more refined and more consistent. I think if he doesn't make it at Cov, I think we failed Norman, because I think Norman's got all the tools to be a very good player. Whether that's this season or next season, I don't know. Hopefully it's this season. I think he's got all the tools. I just think we need to find a way to get it out of him on a consistent basis.
Yeah, totally agree. 100%. All I will say is with all our strikers, because you've just reminded me with Lukaku, is all of them have got to sort out their first touch, because all of them is horrific. None of them have got a decent first touch. Ellis Sims, I think, had one decent first touch, and it was an accident, and it ended up being an assist for a goal, I think. But yeah, all of them have got to sort out their first touch because it's horrific. It's really, really bad. And that's the only reason why I remembered Lukaku, because his was awful as well. But yeah, so that's it for me on that. So let's go on to the transfer talk, what we're actually here to talk about. So like I said, I've slightly cheated a little bit on one of mine. But hopefully you'll understand my reasons why in a minute. So, Glenn, can you give us your first one, please?
My first one, continuing on from the theme of the midfielders.
Go away from USA, man. Come on.
Is a Englishman playing in the MLS who I've always liked, dating back to the 6-2 game for Yeovil at the CBS when he scored twice. Sam Surridge. He's currently scored more goals than Lionel Messi in the MLS. He obviously played for Forest, got them up. Was at Bournemouth. Yeah, good workhorse striker, plays the lone role really well, good finisher, and yeah, I think he obviously might be wanting to come back home after his spell in the MLS, and I think he's got everything that you want from a striker.
Okay, Cam, how do you feel about Sam Sturridge?
He's been very, very impressive in the US. 17 goals in 23 games for Nashville in 2025. The last time he was in England, I believe he was in Premier League with Forest the season before. He went to Forest for second half that season, helped them get promoted. Transfer fee wise, I believe Nashville paid 5.5 million, so I'd imagine they'd want that back and maybe more. So it'd be a steep price. And then just a heads up, going to be amount of MLS players you're trying to raid. I think the US are going to put massive tariffs on it, so please be careful.
I like it. Personally, how old is he, Glenn?
I think he's 27. Let me just
Okay.
check. Something like that.
26.
26, yeah.
26. Okay, so he's still got a fair few years to be fair in him, but look, I do like him. I do remember him from his Forest days. I just think when you've played for the MLS for a little bit, I think it's a little bit slower. It's not like the Championship that's quite quick. So I think he may get caught out for a little bit and then maybe get into it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. Cam, your first one?
My first striker, it is a statement kind of signing. It is Adriano Bertaccini from St. Troiden. He played 33 games last season. He scored 21 goals and got 4 assists. I believe Coventry were actually reported to have an interest in him. Same with Southampton.
I thought that was the one. That was one. So you've cheated as well, then, have you, Cam?
To be fair, I kind of liked him before.
Okay,
I liked him before.
I'll give you that.
He's got a valuation of around £4 million, but I reckon it cost upwards to 6 million, maybe 7 million. But I think it'd be worth every penny. I think he's very quick. Imagine Matty Godden, but Matty Godden has like rapid pace. That's basically Bertaccini.
No, I've seen the highlights, and I do like what I see. To be fair, he does look a good player. It's that unknown of not playing in the Championship or playing in England. That's the bit that I know we got lucky, not with Vic really, but we kind of did. You look at Haji Wright. He played in Turkey. His second season hasn't been great. His second season wasn't great. His first season was, but like you said, if it's a better or a quicker Matty Godden, then I love Matty Godden, so I'll take him all day. Glenn, how do you feel about Cam's one?
Yeah, I agree. I think the concern is, from what I've seen, people who've done a bit of analysis on him, is he really a lone striker? Is he a bit like Norman? And maybe he's better in a front two. That's the only concern I would have. But yeah, I don't think Southampton, who were linked with him, probably will go for him now because they've signed Downs, the American striker.
Okay, fair enough. Right, so my first one, we have been linked with him before. I think we were linked with him last season. I think a couple of seasons ago when I did my striker list, he was on that list as well. He is slightly older. He is 28. But I just think he would, you talk about Bissett and Asante working, and you talk about Wright and Sims's finishing. I think this guy's got it both. He isn't the quickest necessarily, but he can hold a ball up. I think his first touch is brilliant. And that's Jerry Yates from Derby. Derby, I don't think particularly want him. I think he'll be available for a small transfer fee. And I think he's got everything that you want. He knows the Championship. Like I said, for me, if you can get him, it's a no-brainer. And I'd have Jerry Yates every day of the week. Yes, I'd like him maybe a little bit younger, 25, 26. But he's still got a good 2-3 years in him, I think. What do you think to that, Cam?
I think he's good. I think he's one of them where I'd sign on a free. It's not. Would I pay a few million for him? I'm not sure. I think he's okay. I think he's good, but I thought he was quite good at Derby. Didn't quite work out at Swansea. I thought he was quite impressive in a struggling Blackpool team. Does he get ahead of Hadji Wright when they're playing? I'm not sure, but I definitely think he could definitely offer something to plenty of Championship clubs. I'm just not sure where he'd stand here.
See, I think, me personally, because of his work rate and the way that Lampard plays with the number 9, I think he would. I think he'd work hard and he knows how to pass a ball for Sakamoto and for Mason Clark, whoever's on the wings. I think he could play that role quite well. Glenn, how do you feel?
He's an interesting shout because he played up front with Ellis Sims in Blackpool's run to the playoffs when they got promoted. So him and Sims were the partnership. I think Sims.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Sims or Yates got injured in the build-up to the final. I from what I heard, I think I'm sure I saw it on X that Blackpool were looking at him.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The fee was less than £1 million, which to me, for someone who is proven goal scorer in the Championship, going to get you double figures, is very cheap. So yeah, he could be a good bit of business if we are going to move maybe Bissett out on loan. Yeah, I think is he that striker who's going to get you promoted? Maybe not, but he will chip in with some goals. And I think Cov are always at our best when we have 4 quality strikers who get goals at this level.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, Cam, your number 2, please.
My number 2 is a 6'4" striker from Cardiff called Yusuf Salic. He joined in January 2025. He got 8 goals in 20 matches for Cardiff. For a side that weren't creating a lot of opportunities, they're struggling for goals. His goal return was very, very impressive. 6'5", very good in the air. He wins 6.9 aerial joules per 90. Wins about 10 joules per 90. Very, very good. Very good finisher. In 45 shots, he scored 8 times. So that suggests to me that he's a very good finisher. And I think we've had an issue with dealing with a low block in the past. I think someone with his physicality, with his height, and just his presence up top, I think he could be a big asset in regards to dealing with that low block.
Okay, I like the thought process, but we've already got a 6'3" and a 6'1" strikers that don't do that. So as long as he did it, then I would be happy with it. I'm just, on past experience with tall strikers, they're not always that physical. Do you think he could do that, Cam?
Yeah, I think he could. I think in terms of just general duels won, his success rate is significantly better than Ellison's is. I think he caused more issues to defenders.
Okay. Cool. Glenn, how do you feel about him?
Yeah, he's a name that a lot of Championship clubs I've seen have suggest, or people who, when they do the transfer targets, his name keeps cropping up. So yeah, will Cardiff want to sell him? Possibly not. And if they do, they'll want a hefty fee for him.
Okay, nice. Glenn, your second one?
My second one is not a person who plays in the MLS.
Wow.
I'm gonna cheat. There's 2 actual players because Ben's given me 2 of them. There's a striker called Martin Kars, who is a Dutch striker who plays in the Bundesliga 2. He was at Ajax as a youngster. He is 26. Last season, he scored 20 goals and 4 assists for Magdeburg. And then in the previous seasons in his career, in Dutch football, he's pretty much scored double figures every season for 5 out of 6. So yeah, he's somebody that I feel could be a little diamond. I think the German league translates well into English football. They're hard working, they're physical. So yeah, that's the first one. And then the second one is a French striker called Sambou Soumanu, who plays for Lorient, which is in Liga 1 in France. He's 24. He's a striker, and last season, in his first season at Lorient, he scored 14 goals with 4 assists from 34 games. And in the previous season, playing in League 2, he scored 15 goals with 2 assists. So he's a quite pacey striker, decent height. So yeah, he's somebody that I think might be worth having a look at.
Nice. Don't know either of them two, so my apologies on that. Cam, with his knowledge of weird and wonderful players, I'm sure you've heard of both of them.
Yeah. Martin Kars in particular, very, very impressive shot conversion rate. 19 goals in 80 attempts. That's like nearly a shot conversion rate of 25%. That's a really remarkable goal return. So finishing's definitely been a massive asset for him. So worth 4 million. He's been a proven scorer in Germany and in the Dutch second division. Sumano, he's been very successful in the French second division. It's a bit hit and miss because, like with the French second division, I think sometimes you get like massive gems, but at the same time you get massive duds. But I suppose you get that with every league. I think Cars catches my eye a bit more than Sumano just because of that really, really impressive shot conversion rate.
Okay, nice. Thank you very much. Right, my second one, and as always, I try and do a free transfer and a loan player. And my free signing, and again, you might be able to tell me that this player's signed somewhere else already, but a little bit along the lines of Jerry Yates. I think he's a lot quicker than Jerry Yates is. Predominantly for this club, for his previous club, he played on the right-hand side. He's back to full fitness, but I think he could do a real good job as a number 9. He is 25, and it's Ryan Brewster. How do you think to Ryan Brewster, Cam?
I'm not sure.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think he showed very early promise, like when he was really young. When he was really young at Swansea, then he never kicked on. I believe he had that big money move to Sheffield United, which I think he really struggled, and I don't think he ever recovered from that. Constant injuries, unable to hit form. I think he showed glimpses last season. I'm just not sure that he was that player that he was really meant to be. I'm not really sure.
All right. Glenn?
Yeah, I'm a bit the same as Cam. The problem is Sheffield United is a bit of a striker's graveyard, to be brutally honest. I think most strikers that go there don't always tear up trees. I'm looking at Keith Moore. I'm looking at Tom Cannon. I know Tyrese Campbell's done all right there. But yeah, I'm thinking of other strikers. They've not always tore the trees up. On a free transfer, yeah, I'm guessing that he wants city money wages-wise, though. So I would think that will carve out. But I think maybe the longer the summer goes on, he might be someone that last day of the transfer window gets itchy feet and lowers his demands and starts taking any offer that comes his way.
Okay, fair enough. Right, so my third and final one. Like I said, I cheated a little bit on this one because I normally, obviously, I go for a loan player. Now, we didn't mention him in the forwards for our current crop, but it's Justin Obikwe. Everything you want in a striker, a lone striker, for instance, as a young player, I think he's got. He's tall. I think he's powerful. With what I've seen, he's quite physical and quite strong. I think he played the second half against Monaco, I believe. Not sure how he did, to be fair. I didn't watch the game. But I just think he's still 21. It's a big year for him because I think if he doesn't break into it this year, I think he may be gone at the end of next year and he does maybe what a Howell has done and goes on to, I think he's gone to Bristol Rovers or Burrows and go to a Northampton, that type of thing. And I just want him to be better because he's got everything. Again, it's a little bit like Bissett, where I think he's got everything to be a really, really good striker. I think he just lacks the game time, and I think he really needs it this year. So I wouldn't want to send him out on loan. I would want to keep him to back up to the 4 strikers that we've got and play him and ease him in like that, and hopefully get him a start, maybe in a cup game or something like that. Glenn, how do you feel about Abiku?
Oh, sorry, I'm have to unmute myself.
That's all right.
I liked him. I think the problem was watching the Monaco game. It showed how much of a step up it was for him. I don't think he held the ball up well. I think probably what I would have done was I would have flipped him and Thomas Asante around and played Thomas Asante through the middle and Abiku a bit wider. And I think that would have probably made it a bit easier for him. But I do think there's a player there, definitely. And yeah, he's another one, I think, who falls into the category. He gets game time against Luton in the League Cup for me.
Okay, Cam, I know you're a big fan of him. You did do our loan watch on him as well. How do you feel about the season going forward for him?
He was basically my poster boy for the loan watch. If his season at Grimsby wasn't injury riddled, I genuinely think he would have won the League 2 Golden Boot, because his finishing when he was fit was excellent. His shot conversion rate, I think, was around 30%, which I think only Will Grigg had a high conversion rate, which is, it's Will Grigg. He scored goals for fun. If he can stay fit, he's got a really good future in this game. I want to see more of him in pre-season. I heard that he struggled a bit against Monaco, which I kind of expected. These are top defenders. I want to see him start against Bristol Rovers, see how he does against that kind of opposition, which I would back him to do well. And potentially see him start in a League Cup game before we decide what we do with him, because I think he's got a future in this game. He just needs to try and put the injury bug behind him, because if anything stops him from making it Coventry, I don't think it's talent. I just think it's fitness. So hopefully he can put that behind him.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. Right, we'll go to you then, Cam, for your third and final one.
And sticking to the topic of youth, there is a striker who has just left Chelsea on his own accord. They have not released him. He's decided to leave on his own accord. His name is Donald McNeely. I believe we'd still have to pay a compensation package, because I believe Chelsea still wanted to keep him. However, he had a standout year in the under-21s. He got 12 goals in 18 games in all competitions. That's 15 goals in 28 games. A very, very good finisher. Still only 19. Will turn 20 on the 30th of October. I believe he's left Chelsea in a pursuit of first-team football. I think he's a very high standard. Maybe it's worth bringing him in. Come to Coventry, let us help you develop you. You might have some involvement in the squad anyway, just because there is a striker place up for grabs. See what you can do, develop here. You want to bet on yourself? Okay, we want to put faith in youth. Show us what you've got.
Nice, like it. I haven't heard of him. Glenn, have you heard of him at all?
Yeah, I've heard of the name. I can't remember. I think it was Tom Williams suggested him as a Cov player. When he did analysis, he basically did every position for Cov like we did and tipped a player for each position. So he was the striker that he tipped. So, yeah, I think somebody like that, we definitely have a market for a youngish striker in the to play under 21s football and push for a first team place. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Glenn, your third and final one, please.
This is a bit of a tough one, because I've got I ummed and ahed between 3 players. But I've kind of ruled out. I had Jatta at Notts County, but I've gone off him ever since his antics in the playoff semi-final, where he just totally lost the plot and did a Di Canio and started shoving people and everything. So I've kind of ruled him out. Okay. And then it's a toss-up now between Davis Keller-Dunn, who plays for Barnsley. He first came to my attention when Marcel Hilsner was on loan at Oldham. Keller-Dunn was scoring like long-range screamers for fun for Oldham. He then went to Mansfield and then subsequently went on to Barnsley. And yeah, his goal record, he's probably the reason that Barnsley didn't get relegated. last season because he chipped in with so many good goals for them. And then the other player that I'm looking at is basically I would probably go and look at Chelsea, and I would try and get, I'm not sure whether we would get him, is Mark, I think it's Guiu.
Yeah.
Yageyu. I know we've been linked with him there was a rumour that we'd inquired about him at the same time the Raki Saki rumour was going round. And I do think he would be like that top-notch striker who would potentially get us into the top four competition, because you look at our strikers and you're going to be competing when you've got Southampton, who've got Cameron Archer, Ross Stewart, Adam Armstrong. I mean, they're cheat codes at championship level goal machines, aren't they? And then you've got Ipswich, you've got George Hurst, Chaplin, Schmodic. I just think we need that little bit extra just to maybe compete with those teams in the top half. But we've still got better strikers than Leicester anyway.
Okay. How do you feel about them two, Cam?
Firstly, what Kelly had done, I do agree with that assessment. I thought it was actually fantastic for Barnsley. I think Barnsley finished 12th in League One, but I think they were really, really bad. I really think they were bad. And I think his brilliance is the reason why they're still in League One, and it's shown them they have a lot of work to do. I think Kelly Dunn is ready to step up to the Championship. It's not really a signing you'd expect Coventry to be associated with, but I think it's a good shout. I don't see why not. Is it top my priority list? Maybe not, but at the same time, why not? And with Mark Guiu, yes, I think he's really impressive. He came through at Barcelona, he's very highly rated. He had opportunities at Barcelona, but then I believe he decided to go to Chelsea. And did play a lot in the league, but he was quite irregular in the early days of their Conference League campaign. Scored quite often. I think he even got a hat-trick against Shamrock Rovers. I think he's got all the raw materials to be a very, very good striker. Still only 19. A ton of potential. And I think he can be a really, really good player. Definitely a championship level right now.
Yeah, the first one, to be fair, I haven't really heard of that much, but Guiu, I definitely have. I think maybe he is, maybe he does need to step down to the Championships to get back up to the Premier League, because I think he is a Premier League striker. Like you said, he is only 19. He has been touted with, I think, the likes of Newcastle and West Ham and other teams like that. A little bit like Delap in terms of his youngness and his sort of not rawness as such. Delap's got a lot more experience just because he's played for, a lower tier team in Ipswich. Obviously, they're playing in the Championship. So maybe he does need to come down to the Championship to go back up to the Premier League. So, yeah, he wouldn't be a bad shout. I do like him, to be fair, as a striker. So whether his first touch is good enough, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, all of them were really, really good. Thank you very much. Glenn, a little bit too much from the USA for my liking, but I will let you off on that one.
USA.
And that's more tariffs. Trumps. But no, I didn't intentionally do the MLS, but obviously with Pereira coming out today, that kind of made it, because Luna and Cam will vouch for me. Luna and Evander were people that I suggested earlier in the week to him.
All right, I'll let you off. All right, so thank you again for that. Much appreciated, gents, for coming on. Just remember, guys, where you can find us. It is scrolling on our ticker down the bottom. But if you can't see it or you don't want to look at it, that's fine. We are available on X or Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We're available on YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe. And we're also available as a podcast. Please go and rate us 5 stars. We're sponsored by Right Still Fabrications, and we're partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar, the Sky Blue Tavern and the Brewery. And we're also in partnership with Sports Social Network and Coventry Ladies. So once again, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to try and get that up as much as we possibly can. So please share. And again, please like and subscribe. I've said that far too many times. So on that note, thank you very much, gents, for joining me. Much appreciated, and play up Sky Blues. Thanks.